right, Gen X. Now that your LinkedIn profile looks to be the part, let's talk about how to actually use LinkedIn. In this episode, we're going to dive into LinkedIn best practices. So grab your coffee. We're about to turn your LinkedIn from a quiet profile into a powerful networking engine. Welcome to Real Talk, where Gen Z meets Gen X. Hi, I'm Gen X, a developer turned recruiter.
And I'm Gen Z, a project manager working on marketing projects. And we're going to discuss how to bring your LinkedIn to life.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
So, Christine, I think LinkedIn has to be your best friend today, right? You have to be somewhat active. I know people don't want to be active, but you have to be. So, aside from being a job search network and so, an education platform, things of that nature, what are your takes on recommendations and endorsements?
It's mixed. I think that sometimes you can have up to 50 skills. And so sometimes people will put all 50 skills, even though they haven't used them in quite a while. And then they have people endorse. And it depends on, are you having people endorse all 50 skills? And how many people are doing that? Because then at some point it becomes a positive to a negative. Because I don't want to see, as a recruiter, 50 skills and 50 people endorsing each skill. That doesn't look real. And that's your friends or family or a LinkedIn pod, somebody endorsing those skills. Also, if you're listing skills and then they're not in your experience, they're not in your certifications, they're not in your about, they're not on your resume, where are these skills?
Right. It looks like it's manufactured in not a good way. So
Yeah,
yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a to me, it's kind of a quality over quantity thing, and making sure that it's honest and legitimate and up to date, not from
exactly.
15 years ago, right? And you can kind of speak to that bullet point if needed,
Mhm.
um, and kind of go from there. So we're new here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and engage with us. So Christine, moving on, how about engagement and activity? From a straight marketing and brand standpoint, you have to be active. It has to become your best friend. It has to become kind of a part of your day to day life, which can be scary. So, how do you recommend someone that doesn't post on any social or here LinkedIn? How do they kind of get the wheels turning there?
Right. And we have to remember that LinkedIn rewards engagement and activity. So you really, if you're on LinkedIn, which is a professional networking platform, you have to do some networking and you have to engage. And so it's really scary. And especially for people who aren't used to posting, it can be extremely intimidating. I always say to start very small, start just small steps. So the first thing I would do is just like some post, just maybe, what do you think, 5, 10 posts a day, just like them, and do that every day. And that'll get you kind of used to interacting in LinkedIn. After you feel comfortable with that, the next easiest thing is to really share another post, share an article, just share something.
Share something, and you share something, put a little line or two above it, maybe tag that person or that company or
Good
something
point.
relevant there. It's good for kind of engagement. It helps build your network, things like that. So it's a pretty safe way to kind of start posting and not feel like you're going to make a mistake or something like that.
Right. So then you now have liked some posts. Now you're sharing some posts. The next thing is to start commenting. And I know that that's a big hurdle for a lot of people because you read and it says add value, add this, but just take a step back. First, just start. If someone starts a new job, congratulations. Just, very simple kind of comments. And then if it's about some software product or something that you've worked on or worked with, just add a comment, just add your experience. Oh, when I did this, or this is a best practice. It doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be complicated. Just again, get used to engaging with the posts.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes even just kind of
Yeah.
championing.
Exactly. It's just, again, just it's engagement. And you just have to do it in really small steps till you're comfortable writing your own posts. And that might be a while, but as long as you're active and people see that you're active, and that's good enough.
That's good. So just kind of again make it a part of your day to day life, and you're good to go. Okay. So let's say you're actively or kind of passively looking for your next role. there is the famous open to work green banner. Christine, what's your take there, and how do you kind of manage that regardless of where you're at in your job search or
Mhm.
not?
I think that really depends where you are in your job search and if you're currently employed. If you're not employed, I would definitely turn on the open to work. I would put the banner on if you feel comfortable with that. When you put the open to work, you can have it open to work that everybody can see it or that only recruiters can see it. You can also specify your preferences of what type of role you want, where the location, if you want full-time, part-time. It gives recruiters a little bit more insight about what you're looking for. If you're immediately applying or if you're just passively kind of just open to other opportunities. It just gives us a little bit more insight. Now, if you are working, that's a little bit more complicated because, first of all, you don't want to put the banner. And then LinkedIn says that it doesn't show to your current company, but I think that they make no guarantees on that. So I would be a little bit more hesitant with that. The fact of the matter is, if you have open to work, yes, I am going to look and it gives me a little bit more input, insight into your where you are in the search. But as a recruiter, even if you're not saying open to work, I'm still going to look at your profile if your skills match.
And Christine, would you agree or disagree that if you haven't used LinkedIn or it's barely touched upon, and you get laid off or you otherwise need to find a new job, if you go on, that day and then put the banner on, and there's no other content, there's no engagement, you have three connections, it's really not going to move the needle for you. So you can have the banner on, but unless you're kind of following your other tips and tricks here, it's not going to do a whole lot of value for you.
Exactly. You really want to build out that profile. And one of the best practices is once you reach 500 connections, it just says 500 plus. So I don't know then if you have 501, I don't know if you have 5,000. But when you have that 500, that kind of magic number, it shows that you are engaged in LinkedIn and it gives me a little bit more that you're kind of a real person, you have a network. So you really want to get to that 500 and it takes some time, it definitely takes some time, but you can go and reach out to people who maybe you went to school with or who are alumni. You can reach out to coworkers, any professional organizations, and you just kind of just build it a couple of connections at a time.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of take any chance you can to not just collect names, but to actually know somebody when
I
possible.
know somebody. Exactly.
Yeah. So, Christine, what are some miscellaneous tips and tricks here?
One of the things you can do is customize your LinkedIn URL. And I don't know if a lot of people know that, but that it is an option to do it. So your URL can have your name in it, which is very helpful instead of
I
just
recommend.
numbers and letters.
Yeah, no, I definitely recommend that. Ups the ante from a professional standpoint quite a bit. So definitely do that if you
Well,
can.
what's a tip you have?
Proofread, proofread, day in and day out.
Spell
Spell
check, and
check.
proofread.
I think, there's a lot of great tools out there. Grammarly is one. They have a free and paid version, which is great. Um, don't have easier said than done, but don't have silly spelling errors or basic grammatical errors in your profile, please. That's just silly.
Oh, I have another one. And avoid Gen X really has to remove outdated buzzwords like results driven, seasoned. I don't like that word seasoned. What does that mean? AKA old. No, I don't like that. Dynamic. You want to don't put those buzzwords there. Just get rid of them.
Yeah, and find a different way to say that. And the last thing, Christine, I think staying positive.
The tone matters a lot and people can read that in when they're reading your profile. So keep it professional, keep it upbeat. Yeah.
All right. So, Christine, those are some of our top tips to sort of bring your profile back to life. So we hope that was helpful, and we will talk to you soon.